Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my February wrap up. I read 15 books this month, which I guess is pretty good considering I was in a slump towards the last half of this month. But I'm just going to show you each book I read and where I rated them. So if you're interested in seeing what I read in February, just keep watching. Alright, so the first book I read was Sarah J. Maas's House of Flame and Shadow, the New Crescent City book. And I was really excited for this going into it after the ending of the second one, if you've read the series and you know what I'm talking about. And I was interested to see how she was going to incorporate what she did at the end of that book into this one, and I don't know, I was expecting there to be more. I expected it to have more of a impact on the story, I guess, and more like page time, but she does a lot of info dumping and like more world building in this. It almost feels like you're starting over, learning everything that you did. But I do enjoy Sarah J. Maas's world building. I wasn't entirely mad about it, and I thought it was really interesting. It's just new information that we were learning. So I ended up giving it 5 stars. I mean, I rated all the other books 5 stars. Just in general, I think all her series are 5 stars, so I'm not really gonna like rate them less. That's just how I see it in my head. But that was House of Flame and Shadow. The next book I read was Volume 6 of Death Note. I started reading this because my boyfriend picked what he wanted me to read for the month of January. He wanted me to read all the Death Note volumes, and I think there's 12, and I got to 6. So once I pick up reading again, it'll be a lot easier. I don't rate these books because I feel like there's not like a beginning, middle, and end to each story, like where there's a conflict that has to be solved in each one. It's the whole series it's like more as like a whole. You have to read you have to read all the volumes to like get the resolution to the problem. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna rate it until I finish all of them. And that was the first manga that I've ever read, so I actually did enjoy it. And then I reread The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. This year I wanted to start rereading Throne of Glass just because I miss it, and I see so many people either just discovering it or rereading it, and I'm like, I want to be back in that world again. So I reread Assassin's Blade. I read it first. I originally read the series. I read it third after Crown of Midnight because that's the way it was released. But I wanted to try this reading order, so I don't really have an opinion. I think it just whatever floats your boat and how you want to read it is how you should do it. But I do miss this world. I wanted to go in and annotate, and you know what happens in this book if you've read it. And it just kind of made me sad again, but excited to get back into this world. Then I read The No-Show. Oh, by the way, I gave The Assassin's Blade 5 stars. Then I read The No-Show in honor of Valentine's Day because this takes place kind of on Valentine's Day, or like within a year, I guess, of Valentine's Day, where 3 women are stood up on the same day on Valentine's Day, and you find out they're all dating the same man. But this book is literally like not what you're expecting. Like, you're led to believe this like one thing the entirety of the book until you get to about like this much in, and then it changes and you're like, oh my gosh. It makes more sense, but also you're shook. That's all I have to say. I gave it 4 stars. And I liked it so much that I bought another one of her books because I liked her writing and her romance in it. And then I read Mr. Wrong Number by Lynn Painter. This is the first adult romance I've read by her, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. So basically this girl, Olivia, she lost her apartment. She has to move in with her brother and his best friend. She gets a text from a random number who's thinking that he's texting his date for the night, and she responds kind of like as if she were who he meant to text, and then they kind of just like text on and off for a while, like kind of become friends, and you find out who Mr. Wrong Number is, but I'm not going to say who it is because I don't know if technically it's a spoiler or not, but it was really interesting. I like her banter and I like her romances. It was really good rom-com. Then I read Better Than Fiction by Alexa Martin, and this book I thought I was going to love. because it's this girl who owns a bookstore, literally my dream job, and this author that the book club at her bookstore loves, and he's a hopeless romantic, and they agree to she's gonna show him around town to great places and for inspiration for his new novel. And she doesn't like reading. That's the thing. She owns this bookstore that she inherited from her grandma, but she doesn't like reading. So he, in exchange for her showing him around the town for inspiration for his book, he's going to give her book recommendations that she has to read. Which, this seems like a great romance. But right off the bat, I did not like the main character, the girl. She was so annoying, and I felt like all she could talk about was how sad her life was, and her terrible father, her grandma died and left her alone, and her sister, her half-sister, thinks she's all that when she really didn't. She realized I'm glad we can be friends now, but we weren't growing up. And I feel like just everything's about her sad life story, and I'm like, I really don't care at this point. So I gave it 2 stars. Not my favorite. And then I read one of the novellas that came out, The Improbable Meet Cutes, that Christina Lauren, Ashley posted, Abby Jimenez. I can't remember who else, but there's 6, and they're short little novellas that came out for Valentine's Day. They're just cute little romances, and I read Ashley Poston's called With Any Luck. It was okay. I'm not going to give it a rating because it was just so short that, what am I even rating? It's so short that you can't really connect to the characters within however many pages it was, 40 or 80 pages, I don't know. Yeah, it was just a cute story. I have nothing really to say about it. And then I listened to Dance with Thieves on audio, and I really liked it. I liked the writing. Her writing's very, lyrical and magical, and it just made it easier to read, especially for a big fantasy book like this. And I love the romance. I love I guess they're enemies to lovers. I thought it was really good. I can't wait to read the second one. I gave it 4 stars. And then I read Magnolia Park's Into the Dark. 5 stars. I go into these books knowing immediately that they're going to be 5 stars. They can't be anything else. And I love the back, the deer in the bathtub. It's amazing. I really liked the ending. I like how this wrapped up Magnolia and BJ's story. I'm obviously very sad that this is the last book in their point of views, but I think it was a great conclusion to them. So I'm really happy about this. I feel like I want to reread this series already. Yeah, 5 stars. Then I read Bride by Ali Hazelwood, and I did not know. Well, I was hoping it was going to be good, first of all, because I love Ali Hazelwood's romances and her banter. So I wanted to see how she incorporated it into a paranormal romance. And I really liked the main characters, Misery. She's really funny. I think she's a great female main character. I love she's a vampire, and she marries the new alpha of the wolf pack for alliances, I guess, to show that the vampires and the werewolves are, can be civil to each other. Really like Lo. I think he wasn't one of those where he's morally gray. I felt like from the beginning he was just good. He's always been good. And I love that. And when he says don't touch my wife or something, okay, Lo. But the thing is that we spent so much time on Misery, and there's romance is kind of a subplot almost, because Misery spends most of the book focusing on something else, a mystery aspect. So we don't really see Lo that much, and I would have liked to have him in more scenes because he's a great love interest. So I gave it 4 stars. I really liked it. I think it was good for her for her fantasy debut. I think this was really good. I think it was better than Check and Mate, which was her young adult debut. I think she got it right here. And then I read my February book of the month pick, and it was Heartless Hunter by Kristen Ciccarelli, I think is how you say it. I loved this book. It is a enemies to lovers, high stake, witch falling in love with a witch hunter, and vice versa. Like, what more could you want in a fantasy? Let me tell you. I love enemies to lovers where they are still enemies at the end, but they're also still in love. I eat that up every time, and this ended on a cliffhanger. Of course, it just came out in February, and I have to wait for there to be another book because this is book 1, and I have to wait, what, a whole year for the second one? I need it now. This was so good. I highly recommend this book if you're looking for enemies to lovers, high stake romantasy. The next book I read, oh, did I say it? I gave that 5 stars, by the way. The next book I read was If Only I Had Told Her by Laura Nowlin, and this is a sequel to If He Had Been With Me, and I was super excited for this. I knew it was going to make me cry because the first one made me cry. If you've read this, you know what it's about. And you get 3 different point of views in this. So you get Finn's point of view, because you don't get his point of view in the first book, and I loved reading his point of view. I cried like 5 times, you know. I feel like some people were disappointed in like what it's centered around, but like, I don't know, I didn't really expect it to be about anything else. So it hit all the marks for me and kind of gave me that closure that I wanted. Because it has like Finn's point of view and then his best friend and then Autumn. So after Finn's point of view, it kind of feels more like an epilogue to the last book, and I really enjoyed that, so I gave it 5 stars. And then I read the next book in the Mr. Wrong Number standalone series, so you don't have to read Mr. Wrong Number to read this one. It's just about the main character, the girl main character in Mr. Wrong Number. It's about her brother, and he meets this bartender, and they have one night together, and then like never again. And they're both trying to date, like they're both trying to find like their soulmate. So they're like on this dating app, and they see each other on there, and they come up with a wager on who can find love first. But obviously, they fall in love with each other. It was cute. I didn't like it as much as Mr. Wrong Number, so I gave this 3 stars, but it's still cute, rom-com vibes. So, hey! And the last book I read this month is Set on You by Amy Leah. This is the first book in her influencer series, which they're all standalones also, but so you don't have to read one before the other. But it's about a curvy fitness influencer who, you know, does tutorials at the gym and like helps people with the same body shape as her. And there's this new guy that starts showing up to her gym, and he's kind of like antagonizing her. Is that the right word? He's kind of teasing her and messing with her. But she doesn't really realize that it's flirting. Like, come on, girl. It's just about them and their little... Her focusing on, like, trying to be like, love herself and not letting the haters get to her, like, that are on her social media. And him, you know, he wants to be with her, but she's got to focus on herself first. And then when she's ready, she'll go to him. I gave it 4 stars, just because it was easy to read. Again, I feel like I've been really repetitive because this is really all I read this month, but cute rom-com vibes. That's all I can say. So those were all the books that I read in February. I'm going to be picking my March TBR soon, so look out for that. If you want, give this video a like, comment, and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!